The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Krathzik slammed his crystalline appendage against the podium. "This is madness," the Velkori representative hissed, his translator struggling to convey the full venom in his words. "Humans wish to train their offspring in combat? Their undeveloped young?" Celine stood calmly before the assembly of alien dignitaries, her hands clasped behind her back in a posture that suggested patience worn thin. She had anticipated this reaction. The Council had accepted humanity's application for membership 3 cycles ago. But they still viewed humans through a lens of curious bewilderment, sometimes protective, often condescending. "Ambassador," Celine began, her voice steady, "we're not asking for permission. We're informing the Council as a courtesy. Human children have been learning martial disciplines for thousands of years. It's part of our cultural heritage." "Cultural heritage?" Orin, the Thexian warlord magistrate, leaned forward from his seat in the upper gallery. His 4 eyes narrowed in what Celine had learned to recognize as genuine concern. Unlike Krathzik's theatrical outrage, Orin's objection came from a place of military pragmatism. "Ambassador Celine, I have studied your species extensively since your arrival. Your young are fragile, underdeveloped compared to other species at similar life stages. A Thexian child possesses full exoskeletal protection by age 3. A Velkori juvenile can regenerate limbs within days. Your cubs." He paused, searching for diplomatic phrasing. "They break easily." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Celine felt the weight of 200 alien gazes upon her, each species represented here having evolved under different circumstances, with different survival mechanisms. To them, humanity's insistence on training their vulnerable young seemed like sanctioned child endangerment. "Warlord Magistrate Orin," Celine said, addressing him directly, "you're correct that human children lack natural armor or regenerative abilities. But you're overlooking what we do possess: adaptability, determination, and the capacity to learn complex skills from a remarkably young age. Our cubs, as you call them, aren't as fragile as you believe." Krathzik's scales rippled with agitation. "The Council cannot condone this. We have a moral obligation." "The Council has no jurisdiction over internal human cultural practices," Celine interrupted, her tone sharp enough to cut. "We've complied with every integration protocol, every safety standard, every diplomatic requirement. This is not up for debate." The chamber erupted into chaos. Arguments in a dozen languages overlapped, translators creating a cacophony of objection. Through it all, Celine noticed Orin had gone quiet, his eyes studying her with an intensity that made her instinctively straighten her spine. Finally, the council chair, an ancient wisdom keeper named Talshen, raised her luminescent hand for silence. "Perhaps," she said in her whispering voice that somehow carried throughout the chamber, "a demonstration would ease concerns. If these human younglings are truly capable, surely they could prove their training holds merit." Celine's jaw tightened. It was a trap, obviously. No matter how skilled the children were, they would be compared to alien standards, judged against species with natural weapons and armor. But refusing would validate every concern the Council harbored. "What did you have in mind?" Celine asked carefully. Orin spoke before Talshen could respond. "A training exercise. Standard Council protocol for juvenile military candidates, your cubs, against an elite guard unit in a simulated combat scenario." His mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. "Non-lethal, of course. First team to secure the objective wins, and when they fail," Krathzik added smugly. "Will you finally accept Council oversight on this barbaric practice?" Celine felt a smile tugging at her lips, the kind of smile that had made opposing negotiators nervous throughout her diplomatic career. "And when they succeed, the Council will formally acknowledge human training methods and cease all interference in our cultural practices." "Agreed." The chamber fell silent again. Talshen's eyes glowed brighter. "Agreed. 1 week from today, we shall see what your cubs can do." The training arena on Council Station Epsilon was designed to challenge adult soldiers. The objective: a data core positioned in the center of a multi-level urban warfare simulation, defended by 6 Thexian elite guards, warriors who had trained since childhood in their species' brutal military tradition. Celine stood in the observation gallery alongside the entire council, watching as her team of 5 human teenagers entered the arena. They looked impossibly small against the backdrop of the towering structures. their faces hidden behind tactical helmets, carrying training weapons that seemed too large for their frames. "This is cruel," someone muttered behind her. "Those children will be traumatized." The Thexian guards moved into defensive positions with practiced efficiency, their exoskeletons gleaming under the arena lights. They were professionals, elite among elite, and they positioned themselves with the confidence of warriors who had never known defeat. The simulation began. For the first 30 seconds, nothing happened. The human team had simply vanished. The Thexian guards shifted uncertainly, scanning sectors, communicating through their neural links. Then chaos erupted. The humans struck from 3 directions simultaneously, moving through spaces the Thexians hadn't considered viable approach vectors, climbing vertical surfaces using friction alone, squeezing through ventilation systems barely large enough for their smaller frames, coordinating with hand signals and an efficiency that spoke of hundreds of hours of practice. The first guard went down to a flanking maneuver so fast his teammates didn't even see the human teenager who'd disabled him. The second fell to a coordinated assault from 2 directions. The humans moved like liquid, like shadows, exploiting every weakness in the Thexian formation with a creativity that no military doctrine had prepared the guards for. "Impossible," Orin whispered, all 4 eyes wide with disbelief. The humans didn't fight like warriors from a species with natural advantages. They fought like underdogs who had turned every disadvantage into a weapon. Their smaller size became stealth. Their fragility became motivation for perfect technique. Their lack of armor became freedom of movement. Within 4 minutes, all 6 Thexian guards had been eliminated, and the human team stood around the objective, barely winded. The observation gallery was silent. Celine allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. "Warlord Magistrate Orin, you were right about one thing. Human children do break easily. So we teach them not to get hit. We teach them to be faster, smarter, more adaptable than any opponent. We teach them that survival isn't about being the strongest, it's about being the most determined to win." She turned to face the council, seeing the shock, the reevaluation, the dawning respect in alien eyes that had, minutes before, regarded humanity with pitying concern. "Our cubs," Celine continued, "aren't fragile because we train them. They're formidable because we do. Perhaps the council should have worried less about protecting human children, and more about what happens when those children grow up." Orin's mandibles clicked, but this time it was definitely respect. "It seems," he said slowly, "that humanity has much to teach the galaxy about warfare. I formally withdraw all objections." Throughout the chamber, one by one, the council members nodded their agreement. Humanity had been underestimated. It wouldn't happen again.